This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Start building your website today at squarespace.com. Enter the offer code THUMBS at checkout to get 10% off. Squarespace. Build it beautiful.
It's May 27th, 2015.
This is Idle Thumbs 212. I'm Sean Vanneman.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
I'm Danielle Riendo.
I'm James Spaff.
You love it.
Yeah!
Yay!
Chris Remo is under the weather.
He is.
Hi, Chris. Well, guys, this is a new one.
This is a new arrangement. We've never had this arrangement before.
Exactly right.
If you're first-time listeners, this is a new arrangement. If you're first-time listeners, this is irrelevant information for you.
I always say the episode number from
That's
now
true.
on.
It's true. You're always edging in on some element of the intro. Whoever's not here,
I've been edging in on Idle Thumbs since the day I met you.
that's probably true.
It's like, oh, so Gainer's leaving? Oh, okay. I could show up. I just, I got a voice.
You have a seat,
time.
maybe?
You guys are recording on Wednesdays? I know. 8th floor of the Fox Tower. I'll be there.
8th floor, huh?
Yeah, that's probably where Chris used to live.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I played a room escape type game this weekend.
Tell me about
Well,
it.
okay. It was not the escape a room kind. It was the group kind. There's a company called
Was it the
Scrap
Haunted
Entertainment.
Forest one?
Huh? No, there's a company called Scrap. They did Escape from the Mysterious Room and the Time Travel, which we talked about. And then they also have done big group games where they just rent out a huge auditorium and then people come in teams. Each team has an hour to individually solve all of the puzzles in the room and try to come up with the answer. The room escape ones, which we've talked about, are way more extreme because you're locked in a 10 by 10 room and just tearing the furniture apart, whereas this is just sort of solving various puzzles. This was Escape from the Werewolf Village was the theme, and I'm only bringing it up because it produced a Big Lebowski moment that I have not lived in real life before, but like this is the ultimate version of it, where we had, this combination of crossword puzzles and sort of word searches and number weird crap that we found on the walls and wrote down on a piece of paper.
Classic werewolf paraphernalia.
Whatever. It's a classic puzzle room solving stuff. And I was, me and Dana were playing with, Zach and Kevin of Video Game Hot Dog, as well as some friends of theirs.
Those guys are very good at puzzles.
Yeah, but so Kevin from Video Games Hot Dog is a puzzle maniac,
Like an MIT grad.
Yeah, we go to these room escape games with our buddy Kevin, and basically you don't have to worry about 50% of the game because Kevin is just going, just like he'll get a grid of things that might be encoded in some way or another, and he just tries, like he brute forces maybe it's a cipher that's shifted by 6 and da 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 da.
Oh, this is Esperanto. Translated to binary.
We destroyed this game. We escaped.
Did you break the record?
I don't know. I don't know. You can't break the record in Werewolf Village because of the way the game works. Things are time released, but we were so ahead that the staff kept coming by and like trying to erode our confidence and like be like, I guess that's an interesting choice. I guess that's creative work you guys are doing there, huh? And like they started saying it multiple times, and we realized we were being trolled. But anyway, we had this near the end, this just sort of grid of letters and numbers, and Kevin looked at it and decided that the way that it was going to be decoded was doing like an alphanumeric cipher, but taking the first letter of the first word, the second letter of the second word, the third letter of the first or the third word, sort of working diagonally down. And I watched him just starting to write these words out, and he just wrote FARTIINACCURATELY. and then just stopped. And I was like, that's not it. I'm like, oh man, it was like it's the closest to like the Big Lebowski scene where he shades the note and he thinks he's being clever. Then it's just a cartoon drawing of a guy with a huge dick. Kevin be like, it's a cipher, but it's all shifted by word. Farting. Anyway, we also escaped the Werewolf Village, but that was also the best like room escape puzzle solving moment of like the 6 or 7 of these that I've done is just watching Kevin inadvertently somehow decode the word farting out of just this complete mess.
Man, I'm booked. I think I'm going to go and do that one in 2 weeks.
The Escape the Werewolf Village is running in San Jose.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's not quite that one. Then.
There's that company has a ton of things going on.
I'm booked
now.
into like 3 or something.
Yeah, they also have 2 puzzle room games going in San Francisco. They have like Northwest stuff they're running and East Coast stuff. So they're going crazy. But
yeah, a good friend of mine actually just started working there full time
at Scrap.
At Scrap, he's very excited about all the cool things they're doing.
Cool. I write how I heard about it, idle thumbs on every single survey form that I do because they were so mad that we talked about some spoilers.
Yeah,
from
the
their
first time
game.
we ever did one, we didn't really realize
Oh no.
how expansive they were. And this is like early in the Scrap days of them.
Sure.
This is maybe like the second one I'd ever heard of. And so we came on Idle Thumbs back when we were in the old office and we're just like pretty loose-lipped about the way we had solved
Trade
things.
secrets, yeah.
And they got a little cross with us.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, whatever.
So we're sorry. We promote your room escape games at all times for free.
Also, in that realm of spoilers and not spoilers, if you are playing Escape from the Werewolf Village and you start getting the word farting as an answer,
You've nailed it.
It is not a spoiler. You are doing it wrong, so I did not spoil
Farting is
anything.
not the answer.
Yeah, this one stinky werewolf. That's moving
farting
from
is never the answer.
house to house.
I wonder if somebody who designed that puzzle thought this is a possibility.
There's no way because
Farting.
Kevin was so many layers into his own insanity that it took writing the word farting on the piece of paper to snap him out of it.
I see. I understand.
Yeah.
You should get your friend to integrate the word farting into
Subsequent
Farting
escape
needs
games
to somehow be.
so that Kevin then thinks,
No, it's not this. Throws him off.
It's
It's the only way to stop
Exactly.
him.
A real clue masquerading as a red herring.
yes.
Classic.
I don't think you have, but have you played the board game Camp Grizzly? Do you know anything about that?
Nope.
You don't? Okay, so it's like, I don't... The reason I was asking you is because...
Because you haven't played it.
No, it's, Chuck Jordan wrote about it on his blog.
Okay.
And Chuck Jordan is he was a game designer for a long, long time. We worked with him at Telltale, but he worked on Monkey Island 3 and worked at Maxis for a while. And is really into board games and keeps up a good blog at spectercollie.com. And he wrote about this board game that was made by what he said was a former coworker of his. Is a Kickstarter board game that is now like a real board game called Camp Grizzly, where it's 1 to 6 players cooperative, where you are at camp and there's just a Jason Voorhees-like murderer on the loose named Otis, who wears a grizzly bear mask.
Perfect.
And it looks like something we should play because it looks like a nice mix of narrative-driven systems event game sort of thing. But the art is beautiful. The art, I guess, is probably a former story artist or someone who possibly worked with Steve Purcell. It just looks like
Interesting.
that. So I was throwing it to you because I know you're friends with all of those people.
Yeah, but I don't know enough about that game to know anything about it. I played a board game, or like a very small board game, I think by the people who made Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, and I can't remember the name of it. And it's driving me completely insane.
It's not called Camp Grizzly.
No.
These people are not French.
It has a one-word name, and I feel terrible for not remembering what it is.
I played 2 games that are the opposite of each other.
Yeah.
I played Sunset and The Witcher 3. Which are
I
they're
was
pretty
really
far.
like the dawn of.
They're pretty far.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Sunset?
I don't know if we have. I don't
No,
think
can
we have.
we?
Yes,
May
let's.
we?
Let's.
May
I
I
think we
inquire
should.
with you about Sunset?
I think we should.
So
talk about
Sunset was
Sunset.
made by the folks for Tale of Tales.
Tale of Tales.
Who made what's the name of that
They
game?
made The Path?
The Path.
The Path. They
I was
made
gonna- yeah.
Luxurious Superbia that got awards.
You were going to say
Last
The
year at
Witness,
GDC?
which is...
I was going to say The Woods.
The Woods?
Which isn't a game. But
I thought you were-
Forest is a game.
Yeah.
The Path is in the
The
forest.
Path.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Witness is the name of that card and board game that I played earlier.
Oh, Witness. Yes. Oh, we have to talk about that.
Yeah, but we'll talk about Sunset before we talk about Witness.
Okay.
From the makers of The Path, Not the Woods, Not the Witness.
Not the...
Exactly.
So you played Go.
So I played Go
A
and
Tale of
Stop.
Tales. A minute to learn, a lifetime to master. Or is that Othello? Anyway.
It was, yeah, no.
Sorry.
No, I think you're right. Well, no, Go is supposedly the game, right? The strategy game, the purest strategy game.
Would you say that Sunset is the Go of video games?
I would say definitely. There's
You
no
would?
question.
They put it on the
Well,
box quote.
If you wanna get philosophical,
I do.
I can
get some
speak
falafel?
with
I'm
the
all
words. Philosophical.
If you want to get some falafel and talk about it, we can stop this stupid podcast.
philosophical.
So, Danielle, what's Sunset?
Sunset is a game. I was going to say, if you want to get philosophical about it, you could say that the most difficult game to master is race relations in humanity.
Oh, wow. That's
And
interesting.
this game addresses that in intelligent ways, I think.
So you'd say it's the most difficult game, but not the most dangerous game.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. In Sunset, it's a very simple game. It's a 3D game. It is what you would call disparagingly a walking simulator, but you shouldn't do that because that's just not right. Because it's not actually simulating walking.
At what point do we just reclaim Walking Simulator?
I think we should.
Like fucking whatever.
Yeah, just put it on the.
I mean, the only walking
thing
Quap is the only walking simulator.
Yeah, that's
right?
the thing.
Yeah.
It's more of a run.
Depends on how good you are at it.
Well,
Depends on how fast you
it's
can
more
play.
of a buckle over backwards and fall on the full.
It's a limb simulator, I guess.
It's a limb simulator. I like that.
That's a limulator.
Yes.
Yes.
Limulating.
Limulator.
For everyone's benefit. In this game, you play as a black woman in the early 70s in a sort of fictional Latin country that is undergoing upheaval and war, and there's a coup. And what you do in this game is you are a maid, even though this person is an engineer. You know, it's from the outset, it's told she's educated, she went to engineering school, but here she is, even in another country, she's just sort of treated the same way she would be treated in America. And that's like a big part of the game. She's a maid, she's cleaning this guy's opulent, beautiful 70s ass apartment that looks like, you know, a Star Trek set, basically. It's beautiful and gorgeous. And throughout the game, she has sort of a relationship with this guy, even though she never really meets him, or at least I won't spoil anything or talk about, sort of the story or what revelations are made. But it's a game that really tackles head on the ideas of race and sort of how you're treated based on your race and what you look like, things like that. And also the idea of someone being able to influence things even without being directly influential. Basically, she has a relationship with this guy even though she never sees him. All sorts of things are going on. He's instrumental in this war, this coup, or whatever political upheaval's
the trailer
going
implies like some political intrigue stuff.
What are your verbs in this game?
Things like clean the windows, mail a letter from him to his brother in another country.
Is that stuff where it's like you can mail the letter or you can like keep the letter and not send it? Like what?
You can not send it.
Okay.
You were given 3 tasks that you need to do every day. So she's there for an hour at sunset every day, cleaning the apartment. You're given 3 tasks that you need to do, but you can do other things that pass the time. You can read his letters. You can look at his pictures of his family. You can do all things
sort of like
that.
an opportunity cost
Exactly.
thing, where you only have X amount of time to do all the stuff. You have to do 3 things.
And by your hand,
Yeah, that's
you
interesting.
overthrow the government or save the
You might be
world
able
from
to
coup,
influence some things in the game as you go through, but it's
become the dictator of whatever that land is.
If you don't complete
take it over.
your tasks, are you just fired and the game is over?
I haven't
You're a
had that
bad maid.
happen. I have not had that happen because I haven't missed that many tasks. I've definitely missed tasks, but I've never missed like more than 1 in a day or anything like
And the
that.
game
so.
sort of communicates to you, hey, don't miss tasks.
I mean, things are still dirty.
So you got like a
sort of the
C
next
plus.
day. Yeah, basically. Wasn't the best made.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually think it's well written. I mean, it is a little bit on the nose with certain things, but I think it kind of, I don't fault it for being a little on the nose with certain things. We don't have a whole lot of games that are about what it is to be a black woman in the 70s. So the fact that she says it outright,
Not
you know,
many.
like I wasn't treated,
We have a dearth of them. I would say.
you know, clearly there's not too many of those. So I don't mind that part of it, but I think it actually, the way that it deals with race and the way that it deals with identity and the way that it deals with relationships, real or imagined, I think is actually subtle and well done and well written.
I've been thinking about this game a lot. and I was glad you brought it up because I wanted to like ask just a general question to see what people thought.
Buy it or rent it.
Show of hands.
Go or stop.
Show of hands.
Only Danielle has played it.
Then just like the idea of show of hands.
Oh, show of hands.
And I just go, oh, okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on.
That makes sense.
Interesting.
Is the game, and I don't, oh God, no, that'll just go back into an old, is the game entertaining? And do you enjoy playing it?
I did. I certainly did.
Okay.
I'm the type of person I am predisposed to love this kind of game. I love exploring little things, even if it's not action-packed and there are explosions and so on and so forth. I like that. I really like that in games. I do that in games where it's not the point. I'm playing The Witcher 3 and I'm 40-something hours in and I want to pick every little plant and I want to
apartment.
Look at every little, bit of lore and things like that. So, of course, I will say it's entertaining because I really enjoy
that's all that
sort of
matters.
thing. So...
Yes.
Is it like a short thing that's like a replayable?
It's a
kind of
short
thing with
game,
different-
certainly.
Okay.
I mean, it's like 3 hours, maybe 4, if you want to look at every little thing, that kind of thing.
I guess I feel like the Tale of Tales games sometimes are explicitly not entertaining to play by virtue of their design. Like it's a chosen thing. And sometimes I wonder if that is like bad, I guess,
or if it's getting in the way of what they're attempting to do.
I feel like
they're engineered to be off-putting and distancing sometimes, you mean?
Or they're sort of like in a punk rock Art Nouveau way, don't care sort of thing, which I feel like
Sunset feels like it's reaching back towards players more than some of their other stuff.
definitely
To me.
in the way, at least as much as I've seen.
At least, I mean,
But,
the way that they're marketing the game even is more like it's nothing but saying people who review or play this game already like it and like talking about how it's a political thriller and stuff.
That's good. I just feel like it's important that like people make games about ideas that are also accessible and entertaining, even if they're not fun. Because unlike, I mean, this is just my opinion, but like unlike film, it's okay to make not okay, but it's if you make a film that is intentionally alienating and keeps the audience at arm's length, or is uncomfortable to watch, or subverts all the things you know about watching film, which makes the viewing experience maybe not as pleasurable as had you not. That's couched inside of like the success of film as a medium, whereas there are so few games that actually like grapple with ideas and consider themes and ideas in a way that is thorough and responsible that it always disheartens me when a developer chooses to do that on one hand, and then on the other hand make it like impenetrable to the average person, so that like it makes it hard for like a 15-year-old to discover it and get sucked in.
Yeah, I think
that always bums me out.
I think I'm on the same page with that. I almost wonder if in the past it was almost like an intentional choice to be that sort of punk rock, like, oh, we're doing this to kind of be cool and not be a video game, where it's like, no, you can still use the language
right. Well, like,
of that to further your cause as opposed to sort of getting your own way.
Like I always shy away from wanting to like point towards Gone Home because just Steve's on the podcast all the time and we're friends with him. But like that game made a lot of really, I guess, to continue the metaphor, punk rock choices in terms of what it gave a fuck about in terms of what the audience baggage was. But it opened with a first-person key puzzle where it's like, find the thing and open the door and get into this place. You've played video games before. It's a video game. And like, that's really smart because it's satisfying and leads you into this world where you're going to like be challenged on a different level.
Well, I think that also, I think that like the comparison that you made to film and games is interesting because Gone Home also, there's a lot of sort of axes at play in Gone Home because Gone Home in the space of video games, its narrative content is really sort of like reasonably avant-garde and surprising to be included. But in the world of like film and television, it is what the Fulbright team has said it is, which it's the game equivalent of like an episode of My So-Called Life.
Right.
But anyway, regardless, I think what you're saying is interesting because I think games do have the two sort of levels that they operate at in terms of approachability, which is especially games like Gone Home, games that have a lot of narrative content, a lot of sort of thematic content, story stuff that lines up with a movie. You can make, I think with a lot of games, if you want people to play them, it helps to make one of those two things approachable, whether it's the mechanical side or the content side. Like Gone Home, its player verbs and stuff are a game-ass game. It uses the same level design cues that you'd get in a BioShock game. It uses the same sort of puzzle gating structure, but it's about something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, it still has the feeling of a surprising sort of edgy, punky thing, but you can still play it. Whereas I think there are things that completely could flip that equation the other direction, where it is just about blowing shit up or whatever a video game sort of thematic imagery that you'd expect to see, but the mechanics are weird. And I mean, I think it seems like what you're saying is maybe video games are not in a place yet in your mind where you think people should be going after the whole thing as far as the alienating experience.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say shit or whatever because people can do whatever they want, but I do think I always appreciate it when a game does what you like. Yes, like what you just said, sort of chooses which part of it's going to like push everything forward as an industry. I always like that because we're in it. Yeah, I mean, another good example I think is like the Stanley Parable, which is a game that's a video game as video game, but because you come to it with any sort of literacy, you get something avant-garde. And I mean, I think that's sort of like the pleasure of the IGF for me, is when the games that bubble up to the top sort of do that thing, as opposed to. But I mean, there's a really great. I mean, that doesn't mean that people shouldn't keep making like really the Art Nouveau, difficult to grapple with, difficult to play video games because they help push everyone forward. But when the game adopts so much from from narrative media,
any
like
linear
Sunset.
media.
Sunset's a great example where it's like the set design of film and like the art direction of film and writing that you'd associate with any, whether it's a book or a movie or a show.
Or just the genre that its story takes place in.
Then I feel like present it in a way that we can, because the game is mostly about its creative ideas.
You're saying in a game like that, you want some apparent lifeline to be thrown to you, basically. Otherwise, I don't know. I think sometimes like the capital E entertainment becomes like a bad word for like art house games, and that always bums me out because being overtly entertaining at times is like a really powerful tool, and I feel like it becomes like sort of like, oh, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't have an explosion here. Like that make you discover something crazy. That gets heavily into my personal guilt because I personally really like playing games that have completely no context and that you have to just push really far forward inside the like world and content and mechanics of the game before you get the realization and you get the fluency and you can sort of understand its meaning. But at the same time, I never play those. So I like now I feel bad advocating one way or the other because I always end up playing the game that is easy, even though the game that is completely insane and impenetrable, whether it's thematic or mechanic or whatever, I often personally find more fulfilling as a person who makes games and who has decades of experience playing games. So I'm just bad. I'm a bad person. That's what this gets into. I am ashamed that I should be removed
Jake
from the game.
That's the point. That was the long walk to the point I was trying to make.
You were trying to just get me. You're trying to get me to Brecken.
Yeah, I was
getting the Brecken.
Trying to think of a way to say it. Let him down gently.
Jake, look,
but you should be.
Look, you should be playing more interesting stuff. You're smarter than this. You're better than this.
I am due at 9:30 on Saturday morning. Saw you playing Black Mesa. How's that game you played 50,000 times?
No, I started playing
prettier.
I started playing Black Mesa because it came out of it was a mod and then they put an early access release up that they say is more polished and it has all the same things that annoy me about it from before. But I'm still gonna play it because I haven't played any Half-Life in so long that I gotta play it.
But what about 3? What if that gets dropped?
Oh,
well, if that's
it is E3.
That's
true.
That's true.
E3.
Finally, E3.
Could the 3 in E3 mean Half-Life 3?
I think so. And if you put the E, if you flip it backwards, it's a 3.
What? Head pop.
Oh.
If you move some of the E around, it becomes an H and an L almost. Not quite.
If you tilt the logo on its side, it looks like Gordon Freeman.
Holding
No, it doesn't. What? It looks like a weird, like, droopy glasses Gordon Freeman with a butt chin.
Yeah, that's what he looks like now.
It looks like
That's what E3 is all about, right?
I think if you turn E3 on its side and it's going to turn into any Valve-related character, it would turn into Gabe Newell. So,
Whoa.
by which I mean Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Official.
For E3.
Oh. I really want you to play Bloodborne after that conversation.
Like I said, I'm probably not going to play
You can
Bloodborne.
just take the PS4 from my house.
You can play a
Bloodborne
co-op
on it,
with
ready to go.
Danielle now, even though
That's
she
right.
is like level 1,000,000 and you could be level 1. You
Yeah.
can play a
Well,
co-op.
it will still be on the same
Maybe so.
on the same plane, I think.
I would love to watch Jake play Bloodborne.
I would too.
We could stream it.
That would be a great
Jake
You can
idea.
get a PlayStation
Bloodborne.com.
Eye. So people can see your strife.
We just see your hands on the controller. That's
Yeah.
what I want to see.
I want to feel your hands on the controller.
Well, when the PS6 comes out or whatever, and it has, like...
I have gloves that I put my hands
Yeah,
into
you know,
and feel your fingers.
You know how, like, now that everyone's gone so crazy for that Apple Watch feature where you can send your heartbeat to a loved one or family member, that's gonna... I don't think that caught on, but that was like the
What?
in the Apple keynote, how they always have to have like
Yep.
the touching moment where they, instead of showing like vacation photos of a family and being like, that's why we do this, which is what like Steve Jobs always used to do. This one was like, you can feel the heartbeat of someone from across the world. It's like, that sounds interesting, but maybe people are doing that? But anyway,
Until they get scared.
You could wire
Or
that
start
into
having
like
sex.
Yeah, they're
a
like,
dying relative or
what's
something.
wrong with you?
Feel them die as they
Heartbeat,
like drifts
God,
off.
someone is going to feel someone die over an Apple Watch.
really true.
But anyway,
I thought it too.
then
know
now
what it's
imagine
like to
feeling
die.
someone feeling someone die over the PlayStation hand controllers.
In Bloodborne.
Feeling your hands get all
Bloodborne.
sweaty.
Yeah, gross. And then just sort of limp and then slowly rigor mortis. And then
It's my blood beef.
You take your
10
hand.
erect fingers. Oh no.
You take your hand out of the mitt and it's just grease, covered in grease, dripping.
yeah, we can communicate the sort of pressure and position of each digit on the hand as well as the sweat.
Yeah.
We can pump sweat juice into your
Simulating
glove.
sweat. That's your blood beef juice.
I'm
Oh,
stoked
God.
for E3 this year. Half-Life
It's gonna be
3,
good.
sweat glove, Sony sweat glove. We got it.
We're nailing
Only
this
the good
E3
stuff.
predictions here.
Yeah.
Gabe's face. Oh,
Give
great.
people's
I'm
face in the
happy.
logo. E3's.
It slowly turns. We're sitting at a keynote just... Oh my god, it's happening.
Yeah, you just hear the sound slowly of just huge stones turning beneath the earth and then... Gabe Newell's face. It was there all along.
And then it just says confirmed underneath.
Put your hand inside this small black hole. And you feel it's the G-Man's face.
Put your hand... Yeah.
You can lovingly caress the G-Man's face.
You put your hand in and you feel it and you're like, there's only one face that would feel like this. It's Gordon Freeman.
I recognize it from the box
Only
art.
one little beard.
His little beard.
Gross.
His unmoving face. It's like grope it. Just stays stone cold.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
We were really excited to bring Steam logins to Portal 2 on the PlayStation 3, and we're taking that to the next level by letting you feel Gordon Freeman's face with his VR glove and also feel his sweat.
You guys want to take a break? Oh no, go.
You want to talk about Witness?
No, I want to do... Oh, I do, but I wanted you to talk about The Witcher, but we can take a break and talk about Witness and The Witcher.
Post break.
Okay.
You gotta tease that.
Oh,
you want to
yeah.
tease The Witcher?
It's tease all about The Witcher is a game with boobies and adventure and
That's plenty. Too much. I'm
Ships.
too titillated. This episode, Spaff.
Yo.
I didn't say thanks
What? Thanks.
to
No problem.
Squarespace. They're sponsoring this episode.
That's nice of them.
Squarespace is a sensational all-in-one platform where you can build your own online store, website, portfolio.
Like you
Anything.
used it for something cool?
Well, I was going to ask you about something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know the first website you ever made.
The first website I ever made.
Because I know you made you made. You made your friendship with Jake over the internet.
I did.
Creating websites.
I made Spaff's Monkey Island homepage.
Is that true?
Yeah. I made it using Front Page.
Oh.
And then I made it and it was terrible, so then I deleted that and made it using Notepad, like a hardcore.
Like a
Very
coder.
Like
nice.
a cool person.
How did it turn out?
Yeah, it was hard to make it be good back then in 1996.
Well, if you were making that website today, you wouldn't have to do any of that Notepad coding shit. You don't even have to know how to code anything. You can just use Squarespace. It looks super clean and nice. It'll display nice on every... How did your Monkey Island homepage look on the first iPhone?
It would probably look like a tiny piece of shit if it ran at all.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
It was made with Netscape Navigator in mind. And maybe IE1.
Wow.
Ooh,
Yeah.
fancy.
Well-
The heady days of
Fancy.
web browsing.
If you were going to use Squarespace to create Spaff's Monkey Island Paradise, or whatever the heck you called it.
I wish it was called
It's
that.
Monkey Island Pina Colada.
Yeah, you can go right now and start your free trial at squarespace.com. You don't need a credit card. And when you sign up for Squarespace, because your site obviously would have to live forever, make sure to use the offer code THUMBS to get 10% off your first purchase. That's what you would do if you had a time machine.
That's what I would do,
Yeah.
For sure.
Thanks, Squarespace.
Thanks, guys.
That reminds me, I'm going to put in a plug right now for mixandmojo.com, a LucasArts and it's a LucasArts fan site that Spaff and I ran for years in the late 90s, early 2000s. Spaff started it after he burned his Spaff Monkey Island webpage to the ground. But Mix and Mojo actually is still going after like 17, 18 years.
Holy shit.
But it's probably out of that 18 years that they existed, a year in aggregate was downtime due to like bad hosting or people hacking the site or whatever. So they've actually started a Patreon to cover their hosting costs. And it would mean a lot to me personally, actually, if you went to mixandmojo.com and gave them a couple bucks. If you're a person who ever read that site, I know some people still who listen to this podcast followed Spaff and I from that community like 15 years ago. But anyway, small dumb plug
Oh,
Good old Mojo.
for a classic webpage that is the reason I have a career.
that's beautiful.
and friends.
And friends. Yes, the reason that's all true.
Your life
Yeah,
is great
same.
because of this.
And that is the story of how
Jake doesn't know
Jake.
this, but the only reason I started talking to him when I started working at Telltale was because I had followed him there from Mix and Mojo.
That is not true.
I come here to share one thing, one secret, one new thing about our relationship, and you just poo-poo it. There'll be board games like Witness. Not The Witness by John Blow coming out sometime,
Sometime this
but
year,
Witness,
probably.
a game that exists now in print.
Witness is very cool and small. Like when I first heard it,
Wow,
well,
like
okay,
some of my favorite people.
because I. Oh, like some of your favorite people, yes. When I heard it was by the people who made Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, I thought that it was going to be a long game because some of those, like the Sherlock Holmes
Cool
cases,
and big.
cool and big. I think some of the Sherlock Holmes cases take a long fucking time because it's just
Or forever.
or forever because you never solve it because
It's
it's
so
basically
fucking
just
hard.
weird adventure game puzzles in board game form. But Witness is it's like a codified version of Telephone, but you're also kind of solving a mystery. It's a game that requires 4 people, I believe, no more or less. You sit around a table in just sort of a plus shape, to
Like Bridge.
I guess. And the thing that it has in common with something like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective is that Witness has a book of cases, but there's tons and tons. There's dozens of these, unlike Sherlock Holmes, which has 6 cases that each take multiple hours. This is like each play session takes 10 minutes. There's 3 books. There's sort of the case book, the questions to ask book, and the solutions book. So at first you read you read the like little beginning of the case, which is just sort of like a man was murdered and these like 4 brothers were found at the scene of the crime or whatever, and then so whatever. It's like the most bare minimum setup.
Right.
Each of the 4 people have a case book that they open to that case, and it says these are the 3 things that you know about the case. You know that like Ronaldo had a like fancy mustache and he was sitting to your left. Of
course he did.
And that's all that you know, or whatever. But then the game has 4 rounds, and all that those rounds are is like, if the 4 of us were sitting here, it's me, Danielle, Spaff, Sean. Like, I would whisper my clue to Danielle, and Spaff would whisper his clue to you, Sean. That's it. Remember what he said. Next round, Sean, you whisper to me, and Danielle whispers to Spaff everything that they know in aggregate. And then the next 2 rounds are just those reversing again. Or no, the same things just happen again. So now that Danielle has whispered to Spaff, who is that, and you have whispered to me, we all know most things, but not quite everything. And then you try to deliver all the information you've heard sort of around the table. Like, I would talk to Danielle again, and then she would talk to Spaff again. And then it just says, okay, write down everything you know. Now answer these 3 questions about the case. And then that's a total of 12 points are available. And it says, how well did you do as 4 investigators out of 12? And that's it.
You individually score it then?
You'd scored as a team.
Okay.
3, 6, 9, 12. Everyone answers the same questions, but it's just, if you all get all 3 questions right, then you've successfully shared all the information and deduced everything that needs to happen. Where it'll be like,
so the person who sits to the left of the like the psychotic is the person who's always like just docking points from the team.
Yeah,
it's like, you told me he had a mustache.
Yeah, but like
I meant he had a mouse.
Yeah, your goal is not to mislead. Your goal is just to be as clear as possible.
Right.
But the rule is you can't ask them for clarification or ask them for more information. If you're the person being whispered to, you can just say, "Can you just repeat that?" And that's all you're allowed. So you can't be like, you can't start working the case out together and stuff. It's just because I think it's supposed to be that you're like sort of 4 spy type people, and all you can do is lean over to someone like across a folded newspaper and be like, Ronaldo is the Italian diplomat. And then that's it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And there's just like, we only played like the first 3 easy cases, and even then it was just a disaster by the end of it, because it is like telephone where stuff just gets corrupted, and you have to be like, the guy at the very beginning gives you these 4 or 5 facts, and even in those, like, 1 name is mentioned, like, or like 4 names are mentioned at the very beginning of the outset of the case, but then people collectively only have 3 names between them. So you're like, fuck, it's like, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, whatever it is. But like, if you don't remember the 4th one, like one of the questions will be like, which guy wasn't it? Motherfucker. So like, you have to just like, it's a tense, like I actually had to stop playing it after a couple rounds because it was so like, you just have to use all of your active memory and active information retention skills, which no one has anymore.
Just like
holding this crazy construction of like,
can you write things down as it's going?
No, you can only write things down at the end. You can consult your facts forever.
Okay.
But only at the end do you write stuff down.
Okay.
So then it's like, and it's time for the 5th thing. Everyone can write stuff down. Everyone just goes, just copies down like all your stupid word games and puzzle, like, sort of just stupid devices
One
you've made
giant
up.
mnemonic that you have
just your crazy mnemonic that you've been building. It's stupid, but it's pretty good.
Kind of
fun.
sounds fun.
Yeah,
It sounds like a really good like just having people over for dinner type of game.
Yeah, it's a sort of game that you could have as just a party game that is not even at a board game night, because the setup is so simple, where it's just, you're all these people, read this information, now talk to each other, go. And I know none of you guys have played it, but I wanted to talk about it because it
sounds
it's
cool.
pretty good.
No,
Can you get it on like?
I think you can just
internet?
buy it on the internet. Yeah,
You can just make it up.
You cannot.
You just pretend you have it. Just sit around.
You've heard enough now.
Yeah.
Remember, Ronaldo's Italian. God, why don't you
Guys,
remember?
let's listen. This game's good.
Hopefully,
There's no worse feeling than trying to convince a table of people that the game you're teaching them is good. There's no worse feeling than that.
It's really hard. Yeah.
Ugh,
People
I
just
have
look
some
at you
friends
with
that
a
are
dumb
awful at
stare.
like just giving it their all, and I'm like,
people who are good at like at sort of ambassading, at like being an ambassador and to speak on behalf of a game and getting you excited about it are the best.
That is really good.
Do you know what we call telephone in the UK, that game? It's very un-PC.
What do you call
Oh
it?
God, we have to bleep
What do you
this?
call it?
No, it's called Chinese Whispers.
That's awful.
That's what you grow up playing, yeah. And then when you get, so then you're like, why is it called that? That's a bit racist, isn't it? And then I knew it was called telephone. I was like,
it is
telephone.
It is,
Oh
in
yeah,
fact,
that's a good
racist.
name.
Oh yeah,
for
telephone
it
is
you
much
could
better.
use.
Telephone, that's
Funny.
good.
If only we had those here.
Chinese Whispers. Mm.
Goodness
That's actually what we
gracious.
call telephones in America. So,
Oh, really? The Chinese whisperer. The
grandmother's on the
telephone
Chinese
company.
whisperer. She's really upset.
It's the name of the device.
yeah.
Mom!
That's like how you call them mobiles in the UK. We call them cellular Chinese whispers.
Wow.
Thanks.
I never realized the UK was such a racist place.
It is.
I'm kidding.
It has many, many years of being ridiculous.
You want to talk about that time that you witched?
Oh, I've been witching.
This is the
lot.
continuing adventures of witching, right?
It is.
You were witching last week as well.
I was about 10 hours in
Witchering.
last week.
Or
Witchering, yes.
not
I was
witching.
witchering. I've
you
been
were, you were
witchering.
5% into the game.
Probably not even. Now I'm like 40-ish hours in, and I'm like, maybe 35%.
Oh yeah, that's about right though. I heard this game
It
was
is.
200 hours.
Really, really big. Yeah, it's a large game, large and in charge.
How's that goat?
Oh my goodness. I streamed that mission, in fact. I streamed the mission where you have to escort a goat back to its owner. And it's really cute. And the goat's name is Princess. And the owner is really excited about Princess. And of course, she runs into a bear and you have to kill the bear. And of course, and then the next
You have an
mission.
escort mission where you
bear.
save a princess.
But the princess is a goat. Her name is Princess, but she's a goat. She doesn't turn into a princess. She is just Princess the goat. It's very special. And then the next mission, I think I talked about this on the podcast, but the next mission was this like 6-hour long, like a game in itself of like strife and misery and like family domestic trauma and dead babies and just like, it was very, and that was right after saving Princess the goat. So it was very, this game is,
It's a hard left.
but I love this about this game. I have not been bored once out of those 40 hours because the quests are interesting and varied and diverse and just all over the place. But it all fits within this massive, medieval fantasy world with magic and shit in it. So it kind of works. It just kind of comes together. I don't know. I can't even believe how much I'm enjoying this game because other people are like, it's a good open world game, whatever. And I'm like, this is great. This is fun. I want to keep playing this. Maybe it's a little bit of Stockholm Syndrome because I have to play this because I'm making this series of guide videos about like certain boss enemies in it, basically. But I'm really having fun.
You guys are big on those guide videos.
Oh,
You have like
yeah.
100 Bloodborne videos.
Oh, I made most of them.
I know. Every time I see one, it's like number 49,
Yep.
killing the blank by blank. I'm like,
Yep.
oh my goodness gracious.
Hell yeah, that was my
Yeah,
life
you
for
guys
about
are, like,
2 months.
cornering the market on that stuff.
We're
Yeah.
trying to, doing what we can.
Is getting into The Witcher 3 easier than getting into The Witcher number 2?
Infinitely, yes.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
very, very, very easy. It is like getting into a warm bath.
like
so
playing-
easy.
it was
Of
really-
witchers.
Oh, Witcher.
Just a
I
bath
mean,
of baby witchers.
the game begins in a warm bath. Literally. Geralt, the hero, the gray-haired hottie man from a romance novel, is in a bathtub at the very beginning of the game.
Is he testing if
And
he's a witch by trying to drown himself?
Well, I really wish.
Sorry, that was really funny to me.
I really wish
Just
that
him
were
being
the
so
case.
insecure. It's like, God, I've just been worried about a witch my whole life.
think I'm a witch.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
He
I am
dips
a
a toe
witcher.
in.
Oh, God.
Run the bath. Oh, I'll make it nice and warm. Then I'll put some bubbles in it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a test, not a torture chamber.
It's actually really cute
I mean, if I
because
pass, I might as well enjoy
I may,
it.
but I may as well
Yeah.
enjoy it now. I'm here.
relax, take a load off, get your bubbles.
Yeah.
What's very cute because his magical lady love in the beginning of the game, this is the first scene, so it's okay, there's no spoilers. His magical lady love, who is a sorceress, a powerful lady with magic, she's pissed off that he's
witch.
taking so long in the bath that she sends a lobster crab-like creature into the bath to
Man, what
Like,
a
rouse
joker.
him?
clip at him, basically.
So fucking passive aggressive.
Yeah, imagine
It's like, just say you want me to come downstairs.
It's
Honey,
what happens.
Yeah.
Can you send this crustacean in here?
to clip
Clicking
at my
its claws
balls.
at me.
It's true.
We're late.
That's exactly the first scene of the game. And that sets the tone, and it's like, that's great. I love this. I love
What
this
is a
goofiness.
passive-aggressive farce for the entire game? Like, with your friend Snippy the Lobster? Does the lobster at
Snippy
least,
the
hang out with you?
I wish it was all about Snippy the Lobster.
This game is based on Shakespeare's weirder plays.
Snippy.
One, The
All of his
Witcher.
comedies.
The Witcher. Witcher the Third.
Oh my God.
Witcher the Snippy.
Witcher the Third.
Witcher
Fuck
the
off.
Third.
Well,
anyway, it's been a good episode. Thanks, everyone.
yeah, good run. Sorry, Chris.
Spaff wins forever. That was delightful.
Does he?
He does.
We all lose.
Well, nobody wins and Spaff wins.
That means I get to enjoy the bath.
Yes, you do. It's all yours until Snippy
Until
comes in.
Snippy comes to fuck me up.
It's really...
I think Snippy, and I just see like that
Wait, hold on.
Gmail crab.
Hold on a sec. Does that stupid lobster show up? Is it an intro to combat mechanics? They don't make
No.
Okay, thank God.
There's no
Fight it.
bullshit like that.
I thought that was
It's
like
actually really nice.
the twist on like sneak up on your wife or whatever. That,
Oh, no.
that,
No, thank God.
Fight this.
Combat music stuff.
Yeah.
Is it slips into the tub?
Yep.
It's
Slip into the tub. And you have to just do the fight blind with just splash
You have
effects.
to like crush it with your butt or something.
Yeah.
It's just like, no. Don't miss.
Keep your awareness up by...
No, thank God. There's
Pauses.
nothing like that in this. It's really...
It's actually a missed opportunity now that we talked about it.
It's clear. It's clear. That could have been great.
Pass on Witcher 3, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, guys. It's
Only
really
because you can
fun.
like you can. I assume at one point you can do things like in Sorcerer, like take command of the creature with your witching powers, right? Like that's a thing. You
Witcher and
No, that's not what it's about, I don't
Not
think.
really, actually.
Oh, I just assume that there's magic involved at one point.
I mean,
you
there's
can, like,
magic
enchant
involved.
Something to be like you're my thing.
You
now.
enchant the shit out of your sword, I think.
You enchant.
With
Well, you
oil.
do a lot of things to your sword to prepare for. This is actually a mechanic that I really enjoy about the game. You have to prepare for different kinds of monsters because this is all
of
based
course.
on all kinds of mythology,
Right.
mostly Eastern European, but tons of Western European stuff. Like it's things you haven't seen a 1,000 times necessarily,
Right.
along with things you have seen.
That's always what I
1,000
really
times.
liked about the Hellboy comics.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
as a weird
actually
aside.
really
It's just like,
cool.
oh, here's about a weird troll who lives in a tower that you've never heard of.
It's
yeah.
a lot of that stuff, which I dig.
What an asshole that troll is. Living in a tower you probably never heard of.
Yes, he hangs out with Snippy.
Gentrifying shit, that troll.
Gentrifying shit troll.
Get back under your bridge, troll. Who do you think you are?
The trolls of Valencia Street. I love it. But yeah, you have to prepare for all these fights, and then you go into your little detective mode to see what kind of monster something is, and then you prepare for the fight. It adds a lot, honestly, than just, hit it with your sword 100 times. Like, you actually have to have a strategy for different fights. I like that quite a bit.
I like that
and I
too,
also, sorry, I had a thought. The thought snipped at me and then left.
Snippy
It was
you?
like Snippy the crab, and I was very sad.
that's what Snippy's
Oh,
powers
sorry.
are about.
I was going to say you
Distract.
certainly do use magic often. You have spells,
Of course.
but you're not really ensorceling things. You can influence people with a certain sign, and that'll let you get through.
Would you say like a subtle hand wave from
It's
left
like-
to right?
It's like it's a little bit like it's more like
You're
a
trying to tell
crab.
somebody that
It's more like a crab
kind of-
snipping gently.
That seems pretty obvious. Hey, what are you doing?
Pretty good.
That's what you're trying to do there.
It's really good. Anyway, it's a really fun, giant open world game with hundreds of hours of stuff in it and a lot of really amusing glitches. I was streaming on our channel the other night, and did I talk about this on the podcast? I don't know if I did, but it thought Geralt was like 100 feet above the world, and I tried to run around, and it made me fall from the sky.
God, the more games get really complex and crazy in a world,
The more ways they can fuck up amazingly.
I love it.
craziest
Yeah.
things.
It was joyous.
Did you see? There was Assassin's Creed recently. There was a big compendium of like the horrible like
amazing
faces of
glitches.
people and
Those
like,
are grotesque.
The Beetlejuice
I have
faces,
heard
yeah.
that The Witcher 3 is relatively without bugs, and then when it does, there is a bug. It is usually 900 systems colliding that people weren't expecting, so it's amusing. It's not
Yes.
like I'm talking to the animation rig of this guy,
Right,
with, like,
right.
flesh hanging off the bone,
just like, just flesh shards and like just
3
weird, like
eyeballs
gross.
floating
Yeah.
in space.
The eyeballs were the best part of that.
Yeah.
That was really
No,
something.
no. I don't like that stuff.
Yeah, the bugs in this have all been mostly amusing for me. It's just
Yeah,
it's
I've
just
heard
the
that
guy
that's
loads
really
in at the last second and he's on top of a circus tent or something. Just goofy.
those are the good
open
ones.
The
world
best
kind of
Assassin's
things.
Creed bugs are the ones where the NPCs just show up in the background of cutscenes, but continuing to do things. So it's just dramatic bullshit is happening where you're learning about some Illuminati garbage. And then there's just like 5 guys just having a conversation in the background about just whatever random townspeople
Yeah.
talk about. It's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I like that. And the flavor text in this is really awesome. And it's based on a series of books, but they've done a good job sort of fleshing out the world. And there's a lot of like little jokes and little things if you pay attention. Somebody asked if you're hungry like the wolf at some point. It's just, they're not, you don't need to actually
Duran Duran is there.
I like that. I like the dorky 80s jokes, so.
Oh, you're going to love.
I'm having fun. This game was sure made for me, let me tell you.
That's good.
Apparently it's been made for about 5 million people who bought it. Yeah, people really like this game.
People are liking it so far.
And if we watch all 300 of your video guides,
it'll be like we played it.
Yeah.
It'll be just like you played it with me. And so we shared an experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. Polygon.com on YouTube.
/The
Witcher. Just go to YouTube. We have all our videos there.
Just go to youtube.com, search for The Witcher. You're sure to find it somewhere.
Search
All
for
the
Polygon,
videos are there. Just type in Snippy the Crab.
So, exactly. Yeah. That's my actual handle on YouTube. Snippy the Crab. I was so inspired.
Did you want to do reader mail this week? I always feel like it's weird doing reader mail without Chris.
Without Chris?
He pre-selects it and reads through it so well.
He has such a good reader mail voice.
We will butcher those.
We can cast all of that asunder and just cold read all of it.
Okay,
it's clearly not impressive, Jake.
Damien Martini writes about characters impaired mid-game, which is the thing we talked about last week, I think.
Oh, yes.
He says, "Hey, Thumbs, I was listening to your talk about whether you've ever played a game in which something happens to a character mid-game and she would need to adapt to it to continue playing. I can honestly say I've never experienced something more like that than in Brothers, A Tale of Two Cities. Have any of you guys played that? I did not play Brothers.
Yes.
I did a really good job of installing it on my computer."
He says, "This game has been out for some time, so I think spoilers are allowed, but just in case, big spoiler alert."
Oh,
capital spoiler?
It's weird. I can't, but I kind of just don't.
I like when he just capitalized big and spoiler, which makes me think of like Big Tobacco. Big spoilers out to ruin your stories. So, just so you know, Sean, in this single-player game, you control each of the two brothers. You want to walk out of the room for this brother spoiler?
That's fine.
Okay. You control each of the brothers with one of the analog sticks, and you need each of them to help the other complete various tasks. Needless to say, towards the end of the game, one of the brothers dies. So the game actually forces you to finish the game going through some of the same places that used to take two characters to complete, only now you are alone. Needless to say, the game leans heavily on the impact of losing a sibling, and it's among the most emotional things I've experienced in gaming. It's brilliant. I remember crying like a baby all over the controller, screaming, "Where's my brother?"
Aww.
Which was actually weird since my real brother was in the other room.
Saying, "I'm here."
He goes in, he's like, "What?"
He's like,
that scene with me would just be a flashback to me being 4.
There's a couple more things in this email.
I'm just being like, why didn't I get a brother?
Oh no!
Where's my brother?
Okay, so
I was really upset.
Honestly, if you haven't experienced it, do. Thanks for the awesome work. And let me shoot you another question, if I may. Where's Sean? Is he still involved in the podcast?
I can answer that question right now.
Whoa.
He is, and he's crying over how he doesn't have a brother.
It's okay. I've gotten over it. I've made peace. My sister became brother-like in her hobbies, and
she was cool enough.
Yeah, she's really stepped up.
That's a good thing. She's stepped up. Her brother game.
Well, I don't know. She's good. I'm here though. I've just been working a lot.
Robert Angus writes, "I'm really glad Spaff is back," and so is everyone. So
is everyone.
I do feel weird doing a million of these reader emails without Chris because he's better at it than me. But
that was a good one though.
Yeah.
Great one to end on.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Spaff's back. We should have done a really big Idle Thumbs / Double Fine / Media Molecule cross promo called Spaff's back. I guess what is Media Molecule?
A slow zoom on my back.
It's about you getting a huge back tattoo of Jay Allard's face. If you have a reader mail that you would like Chris Ramo to read instead of us when he's back on the podcast next week, write us at questions@idlethumbs.net. If you enjoy this podcast for whatever reason, please tell a friend about it. People sharing the word to their friends is really the only way that we gain readership, except if you enjoy this podcast, please also review it on iTunes, because a good review on iTunes actually goes a long way for us. If you're wondering where to find this podcast outside of a place like iTunes, we are at idlethumbs.net/idlethumbs. That's also got a link to our Twitch page, Twitter, Facebook, a million other ways that we can bother you when new episodes come out every week. So check those things out.
Awesome.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
On the internet.
Huzzah.
That was back when Brecken was on it. It was good.
Oh.
It's good again.
How dare you?
Who are you people?
Snippy!
Ruiners.
We've talked a lot on this podcast about Major Bueno, the guys who make video games basically instantaneously. We worked with one of Major Bueno's contributors named Mayas. He is from Germany. He worked at Double Fine for a while. He worked at Telltale for a while. They just make little games, and I don't know how they do it, but they were at a game jam, and all their stuff got stolen.
Oh, no.
The bunch of people who were...
Them and a bunch of people. A bunch of tiny scale indie developers had all their stuff ripped off a few weeks back. So
they started an Indiegogo and it's actually they show exactly what was stolen and how much money they're asking for to pay it all back, so they're not trying to pad it or anything. Yeah. But they started an Indiegogo where they're just making cool stuff to buy their equipment back, and for small amounts of money, you can end up getting into games. They'll just draw you into a video game.
Oh, that's awesome.
They have a lot of great little rewards, but it's on Indiegogo. They're called the Magpie Collection. You can find them there, but they're about halfway back out of the hole right now.
Those guys also did a cool thing that's worth checking out. They went on a tour Bueno, and they went around Europe meeting with indie game and devs, and then checking out where they lived, and then jamming for 48 hours to make a game based on
that's rad.
place people
at
lived.
Each stop.
Yeah, at each stop around the thing. And then do you know how many stops they did? 12, 15?
Quite a few.
One of those stops was Media Molecule, which is how I know about that.
Oh, nice.
It's worth checking out that tour video, because each person they meet is another individual cool person with a weird place that they live, or make some weird games.
Yeah, those guys are cool. Help them get a computer back, I guess.
Yeah. Oh.
Video games.
Was that your first website?
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Sorry, when we did a Squarespace ad and Sean asked us about me, I said that the first thing I made was Jake's Monkey Island homepage, I believe. So anyway.
What was its I'm actually asking it as your friend, not as somebody doing an ad read right now. What, when you set out to make it, what were you thinking about? Why did it need to exist? Other than just, I know you probably didn't have a super analytical 14-year-old brain figuring out your Monkey Island.
I was just I love Monkey Island. I want everyone to know how much I love it.
So it was celebratory.
Yeah.
It wasn't a place to share your thoughts or anything.
Well, it may have had a message board allowing people to leave, or a visitor board.
Is that how you met Jake?
Called?
No.
No.
That's fine.
But it is the beginning of that story.
That's exciting. So this will be a multi-part friendship of Jake and Spaff as long as Squarespace continues to buy ads on Idle Thumbs. Oh. Do you think it would be cool if instead of using the Idle Thumbs theme song for the opening of this episode, we used Azalea Banks' song 212?
No, I don't think we should do that.
Okay.
I'd rather we don't get content ID'd.
And what if we used what
if we used a royalty-free knockoff, a MIDI file of it?
If I can find a MIDI file of Azalea Banks' 212, can we use that, please?
It's a kazoo.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sing over it.
Stop it.
That's such strong theme music.
Any conversation we have during this is unusable in the podcast.
Don't say anything interesting.
DMCA Dad over
Don't
here.
say anything interesting.
Yeah.
DMCA
Call me
Dad.
DMCA Dad.
You can use 30 seconds without getting cut off.
That's probably true.
DMCA Dad over here.
Whatever.
Video Dad.
Sniping poor kids' Minecraft streams because they're listening to SpongeBob in the background.
Yeah.
Because they use some fucking unsolicited art.
No copyright intended.
Fucking just... Nintendo Dad is actually DMCA Dad.
Yeah,
taking down everybody's...
Nintendo Dad?
Nintendo Dad is DMCA Dad.
Taking everybody's
Not
Mario
Nintendo
Kart
Dad,
8
though.
Super
Stop showing the Smash Brothers.